I'm Ellen, an AI voice receptionist.
Hi, Ellen. I want to speak in Spanish.
Please wait while I transfer you to Christina, our Spanish assistant.
Hola, soy Cristina, ¿cómo puedo ayudarle?
Hola, Cristina. Quiero hablar en polaco.
Por favor, espera mientras te transfiero a Lucas, nuestra asistente en polaco.
Jestem Łukasz, jak się masz?
Cześć, Łukasz. Chcę rozmawiać po angielsku.
Proszę czekać. Przekazuję cię do naszego asystenta angielskiego.
Hello, I'm Ellen, an AI voice receptionist.
This is cool. Okay, let's actually try and book an appointment. So this is my make.com setup. Anyway, so if you're speaking to the English assistant, you got to speak in English. If you're speaking in Spanish, you got to speak to it somewhat in Spanish, or come up with a way to transfer people. So for example, at the start with your main squad member that picks up, maybe you have like a menu. Talk to Cristina if you want to speak in Spanish. Talk to Łukasz if you want to speak in Polish. And then you can then transfer them via their names. So I think that would be probably a better way to do it than that. But I'm going to show you a demo and see if we can book in English and then in Polish and see how that goes. Yeah, let's try call now. Yeah, this is my make scenario, and I'm just going to call Ellen again to try and book a call.
Hello, I'm Ellen, an AI voice receptionist.
Hey Ellen, I want to book an appointment.
Hi there. Could you please tell me your name, email, and the specific date and time you'd like to book the appointment?
Yeah, sure. My name's Henrik. My email is lunarisagency@gmail.com.
Got it. Could you please spell out your email address for me slowly?
Sure. LUNARISAGENCY@gmail.com.
Thank you, Henrik. And what specific date and time would you like to book the appointment for?
Yeah, this coming Thursday, say at 3 p.m.
Just a sec. Great news, Henrik. Your appointment is successfully booked for this coming Thursday at 3 p.m. If you need anything else, feel free to reach out. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ellen, an AI voice receptionist.
Hi Ellen, I want to book in Polish.
Sure thing. Could you please provide me with a specific date and time for your appointment?
I want to speak in Polish.
Please wait while I transfer you to our Polish assistant.
Jestem Łukasz, jak się masz?
No, cześć.
Cześć. Kiedy chciałbyś umówić się na konsultację? Podaj mi proszę konkretną datę i godzinę.
O 5:00 w czwartek.
Świetnie. Jaki jest twój adres, e-mail i imię?
Ja się nazywam Henryk i mój e-mail jest henryk@gmail.com.
Czy mógłbyś powtórzyć swój adres e-mail, literując go powoli?
Okej. Henryk.
Czy to się zgadza?
Mój e-mail jest henryk.
Proszę powoli przeliterować swój adres e-mail, aby upewnić się, że mam to poprawnie.
henryk@gmail.com.
swój adres e-mail.
Hello, I'm Ellen, an AI voice receptionist.
Hey, Ellen, I want to speak in Polish.
Please wait while I transfer you to our Polish assistant.
Jestem Łukasz, jak się masz?
No cześć, Siemka.
Cześć. Kiedy chciałbyś umówić się na spotkanie, proszę podać konkretną datę i godzinę.
Czwartek o 6.
Super. Jak masz na imię?
Henryk.
Chwileczkę. Henryk, spotkanie zostało zarezerwowane na czwartek o 6. Potwierdzenie powinno już do Ciebie dotrzeć. Czy mogę jeszcze w czymś pomóc?
A nie, to wszystko, dziękuję.
Nie ma sprawy, Henry. Miłego dnia.
No dobra, cześć. And here is my Google Meet link. Sorry, I'm not sure if you guys can see it. I think that's a much better solution. So, you guys watched my, I think my make.com scenario. I actually trialed booking using my email in Polish and in Spanish. I ended up completely getting rid of the whole email verification. So the extra node you saw before, that was all email stuff related. And right now, all it does is it just asks for your name, the time you want to book. It books it into my calendar, books a call in with Henrik. So that was the caller's name. And then what happens is it then just sends an SMS via Twilio with this sort of whatever message you want to send to your leads. So my squad of 3, the English, the Polish, and the Spanish speaking team or squad, they transferred in between each other. So if you guys do want to build this, I will go through it right now. What we might do is just go through the things that you need first. So you will need an Excel sheet where we can store all the transcripts. You would need an 11 Labs account with an actual, with a subscription on it. I think you can get a, let's see. I think you can get the starter one with 80% off for like, it would be like $1 then. Just a trial if you want. You would need a Vapi account, and then I'll highly recommend opening this. This will help us edit all our JSONs and stuff that we need to put into our make.com setup. So you also need a make.com account. You can have 1,000 runs for free. So the first thing we need to have to set up is a webhook, custom webhook. And I'm just going to add in and call it whatever I want. So Vapi testing YouTube. Then this link, this URL, what we'll do is we'll put it into our Vapi account. So we'll go into the bottom here. You'll then jump into API keys, and you will then put that link, that server URL into here. So the reason why we want to put the server URL in this is because when you don't have an assistant assigned to a number, so at the moment for my inbound and my outbound setup here, I do not have an assistant assigned to them. This means that Vapi will send an assistant request to your server URL. So it sort of bypasses this whole setup here. So what that means is that when a call comes in, it will, instead of going inside of Vapi, it will redirect it to make.com. So if we do this, and then I'm just going to do a router, so you guys can follow along. Going to do a router, and there'll be a couple of things coming through. So one of them will be a end of call report. Another one will be a function call. And the other one that will come through is an assistant request. Cool. So here I've actually got I've got a whole notion of the assistant request and things like that. Instead of calling each time, what I do is I jump into Postman and I then use this, whatever link I have here, and I just send that through to make.com so I don't have to make the call. And now we've got the function call that we'll have set up in our agents. So for example, it'll be a type. So in here, when you guys see type, that's type function call. This will be then type. It won't say function call one assistant request. It'll say that instead. And same with the end of call report. So we'll go do function call here. Let's do the assistant request in the middle. All right, so the assistant request will essentially be a webhook response. And in here, what we need then is a JSON setup. Here we need to go show advanced settings, click on this. Here we type in content values application /JSON. And in the body, this is where we're going to put our whole assistant into. So I might jump straight into the squads part. So we'll just create three assistants that then we can use for our setup. So I'm guessing that's what you guys will want to do too. So for now, let's press OK there. And we won't do anything else here. In the end of call report, what we'll do is we'll set up a Excel sheet, which is why I want you guys to have the Excel set up before. So just in here, just for now, let's chuck in a Google Sheets and then we'll add a row for later. So then we'll just press OK for now. Okay. So maybe go into the document where I have all the links to like all the things that you need. And then just copy that over, jump into here, set up your whole sheet. I've already got it. So you can actually type in, I've got a folder for like this sort of stuff. So I recommend saving in a folder, and then I've got a copy of Ellen. So that's where this is going to go. And transcripts. And in a sec, we'll fill all this out. So leave that blank for now. And on the top, we'll have, now what I might do is paste that in here. Hook that up. And then this is my note I had from my other scenario. So this node here was made by Brennan or Sanava, I believe. Well, one of them made it, so props to them. Probably the only thing I really changed was I added in the chosen time in the JSON, and then I added in the output date must be always ahead of the current time. So we also don't want to book it. We don't want to make sure that it books into the future. The start time will always be 7 a.m. The end time must always be 11 p.m. So it sort of checks between those times. And then I also gave it, this might come through. So this, whatever this information here is, it might actually come through in Spanish or English. Press OK there. And then because we will want to then pass this information through, so we're going to go JSON, pass JSON, and then whatever. I'm just going to put A here for now, just as like a placeholder, and press OK. Let's save that. And And for now, this is our basic setup on how this is going to work. So for now, what we'll need to do is to fill out our body in here. So that when we call, we can then pick out one of our assistants. So now we're in Vapi, and I might actually completely remake my assistants completely from scratch. So I'm going to go create assistant. Oh, that's new. They literally just changed it on me. It's going to go create blank template, and we'll, instead of calling Ellen, we'll go with Belen. We'll have Belen as our main assistant, and we'll get it to say hello, Belen, and AI receptionist. And the cool thing is that you don't actually need to prompt. You don't need to write that you're going to have other assistants in the prompt. So we don't need to write that we're going to have Christina or Łukasz in the prompt. You just it already knows it because it gets added to the context of the assistant when we put it into our whole JSON object. So then I might just give you guys the whole prompt that I use for Ellen here, and we'll just change it up as per. And we'll just change it up and use it as we need later on. So the prompt says you are Ellen. You need to change this then. You are Belen, a receptionist. Engage in the caller. Start the call by asking a specific date. Ask for the name. Use the book lead function. And the thing I've been liking to use is the this sort of like conditional thing. So I looked at the bland all my homies love bland setup. And this is the thing that I went with. So if the response provided by the API is successful, move on to step 3. And let's change that. Step 4. Which then means it was successful and we can finalize the conversation. Otherwise, provide the available times given, then wait for the response. Capture the new time and use the book client function again. So it's going to pretty much go back to step 3. And in here, I might go finalize the conversation, say, have a great day. And what we'll do is we'll actually use the end call function, which has been working quite well for me. And here I just put in pay attention to these square brackets. These contain conditional pathways. Slow down and think about these before saying anything. This has been working quite well for me so far. So you can have a bit of like a true or false type stuff or yes or no type stuff, and the conversation can go a few different ways. All right, so you work for an agency, you run a voice call, so giving it some context, and just hear some extra notes. And the things I don't like is she says assist. That's super annoying for me. The latency right now is 850 ms, which is really cool, which is really quick. I prefer to jump up to 4.0. It's like 2 cents more and the quality is so much better. So I think in here, I might just turn it down to like 0.4. Gonna do 256 because I like having things in powers of 2s. Publish. And Belen is so far almost done. In the transcriber, we need to change a few things. This will be very important for our language setup later. So in our voice, I am a big fan of Joanne. Yeah, it's 1850, but if we go to 11 Turbo V2, it jumps to 1050. And in here, punctuation boundaries. What they'll tick. I actually don't know what these do, but I don't want to add anything extra that I don't need at the moment, just for testing purposes. Default sound, I turn off to off. I don't like the background noise. I'll usually leave it at 0.5 and 0.75, and that's just where I leave it. It's been working fine so far. Then in our functions, this is what we're going to create our function called book leads. Book lead or book leads. And here I will say this function will handle the booking. It will either book an appointment or return available spots. In the properties, all we need, because we're sending the SMS instead of getting the email, Remember the email, getting the email is such an annoying part of the whole process. Sometimes the caller might repeat it twice and it's a long email, and they might get it wrong each time. So in here, what we'll do is we'll grab the email of the caller. For example, I'm just giving it my email, and the properties. What we'll do is we'll have chosen time. And in here, we'll have the day and time of the day the caller requested, for example, 10 a.m. tomorrow. Click on save. And this is where it gets cool. You will post in here the exact same URL that we used for our main account server URL. So it's the same thing. Because what we'll do is we'll keep everything in one make.com scenario. Book lead. And we're going to go end call function. We're going to enable that and the end call phrases. So this is when it hangs up. It will say, have a great day. If you recall, in our prompt, we said, have a great day. And this is what it'll say when it finalizes the conversation. So once it says that, the AI hangs up. In advanced settings, I actually find the 30-second timeout to be too long. Like 15 has been good for me. And in here, you don't really care about the client messages. We don't have an SDK set up. I just leave something on just for the sake of it. The only thing that really matters for us here is the we're still doing, so we're not actually going to use a function call via the server, via this part here. We'll be doing it via the actual function. So all we really want is but anyway, we'll grab the end of call report, and so tick the end of call report and the function call here, please. And let's just leave that. I think that's the whole setup for one of these guys. So let's go publish. So our Bellon's ready. All right. So once we've got everything set up here, we want to copy this assistant twice. One's going to be whatever language you want. Well, first we need to set up a 11 Labs account. So you guys log into here, then we jump into voices, and I've picked Joanne, had Christina, and then I had Carolina, and then I had Pan Łukasz. And what you can do is you can jump in a library here, and you can search for voices or filter voices. So say you want a Danish language, you just select from here and have a listen to these samples, and then you just click on add to voice lab, and that's how you find your voice that you want. So what I did when I went into here, I went into Polish, went by male, and I picked the voice that I like from here. There's only 2 female Polish voices, which I use by a lot of people actually. And then the Spanish one that I picked, I also picked female, and I just listened to the ones that I like. So, and then you just click on add to voice lab, and then they transfer over into the My Voices tab over here. And then this is then your private voice library that you can use with Vapi. So once you've got that chosen, once you've played around with all your voices, jump back into Vapi. And then what we need to do now is to duplicate. Let's call this one, I'm gonna say Łukasz, I'm gonna say Piotrek. Piotrek just means Peter. And then we're just going to change some of the settings here. So I'm going to click on publish. So now we've made Piotrek, and I'm just going to change the wording so that we know when it actually switches to Polish. So it says jestem Łukasz, jak się masz, which is hi, I'm Luke, how are you? Click on, just change some of this around. and he is doing that only in Polish. So we just give it context there. And that is literally all we need to change in the model section. And then for the voices, this is the most important part. Now the provider, I'll still keep 11 labs. Then click on publish. And in here, I'm just going to type in Łukasz. And make sure when you've chosen your voice, you click on 11 multilingual V2. It will not work without this. The other setting you actually need to set up is the transcriber, because this is the thing that will change the way it talks. So the language needs to be in Polish, and this is also the language that it understands. So we've got the function here set up with the URL. We've got that. And then what we need to then do is do the same thing for, I think I might call it Carolina then. So we'll do duplicate assistant. Let's call it Carolina. And I'm just going to grab the Hola, soy Cristina. Hola, soy Carolina. ¿Cómo puedo ayudarle? I'm going to leave that with as the first message, and then we just need to change these things here. Carolina, Spanish. And that's the only thing we need to change, except for the deepgram and the transcription and describer. Please make sure you choose so ES is then Spanish, the voice. Click on here, and then I had Carolina here from the drop down. Click on publish. And also double check you've got the V2 here for the 11 legs multilingual. Now the latency is pretty much double if you just have Bellin with 1050. Using the languages gives 800 more ms to that. Now, does it matter? Not really. It still works. I don't think that's a big thing to worry about at all. All right, so now we've got Bellin, Piotrek, and Carolina set up. If you had issues getting the your voices synced with Vapi, you need to click on Voice Library, and then in your private voices, see this, you then need to click on Sync Voices right here. So you need to click on that button a few times. You might then even have to refresh Vapi. You guys can see this in your Google Doc, exact same thing. So I just recommend copying into here. So the setup is like this. You've got the first squad member, the second squad member, and the third squad member. So what you'll do is we'll now jump into Vapi and we'll copy over all the info we need. Let's bring up our Vapi assistants. So this is Bellin. This is the first one that we made, so this would be our main one. So let's copy the assistant 1 ID. So that's that. Let's paste it into here. And then its destinations. So the things that will this assistant will then transfer to the other two. So be very careful with the assistant 2 name, because it needs to be exactly how we had it in Vapi. So it needs to be Piotrek. If you get this wrong, it won't work. And then let's also then put in the assistant name for, so it's Carolina, and that's the main part done there. Assistant 2 ID, so that's Piotrek. Let's copy that over. Read assistant 2 name from Vapi. I think I screwed this one up, so I need to change that up. So this is assistant 1. So now we're on our second assistant, and yeah, so we're putting that info in, and this is the one that we want to transfer to. So this will be Belen, and then the second one we want to transfer it to the other system we want to transfer to Carolina. Let's also set up the ID for her as well. So she's going to be our third one, and let's change this to Belen, and then we'll have Celtic. Okay, perfect. So I think they'll all now go to their respective ones. When she's transferring over to Celtic, what we want to say is transferring over to our Polish speaking assistant. Now let's find the other instance of where we're doing that. So we are doing that over here. Cool. And I want this to happen when the user wants to speak in Polish. That's that. Let's also copy that over to there. And then Carolina, so let's have the message then be transferring over to our Spanish speaking assistant. And we want that to happen when the user wants to speak in Spanish. Let's copy these two and then put them into and these actually should be in Spanish. So this is the language that the assistant should be speaking in. So this is the message that the assistant will say when it's transferring over. And if it's a Polish speaking assistant, we actually want it to say it in the language that it's in. So this one specifically will be the Polish one, just transferring over to English, and our Spanish one. Transferring over to that, we'll then need to have that in Polish. So I already had that set up here somewhere. Yeah, I'm just going to copy it. So that'll say that. And this part here, this doesn't matter. The LLM will translate for itself. That's fine. And then this one here as well needs to be Polish. That's that one. When the user wants to speak Spanish, the user wants to speak in English. I might just say it here in Polish, what it actually would sound like when they say it. Okay. Let's now set this up. So for Belen, the message that will that Carolina will say when speaking to Belen, so she will need to say that in Spanish. So por favor, espera mientras. Alright. Cool, that seems good. Transfer the call when I want to speak in English. And I have the message that she'll say when she's transferring in. There's the user when so when the user wants to speak in Polish. All right. I think that's it. So I'll copy that when I go into here. Copy all this into our make.com setup. And let's see if that works. So let's give that a call.
Hello, I'm Dawn, an AI receptionist.
Hey, I want to speak in Polish.
Transferring over to our Polish-speaking assistant.
Jestem Łukasz, jak się masz?
Cześć Łukasz, chcę porozmawiać po hiszpańsku.
Proszę czekać. Przekazuję cię do Krystyny, naszej asystentki hiszpańskiej.
Hola, soy Carolina, ¿cómo puedo ayudarle?
Gracias, Carolina.
De nada, ¿podrías proponer una fecha y hora específica para tu consulta?
Vale, gracias. Cool, that all works. We should get an end of call report coming through now. And we'll need to set that up. So as you guys saw, this was the end of call report. So the type message type of message was the end of call report. Then what we need to do is assign all these to our table in Excel. So our lead phone, you get that from call customer number. This is the phone, this is like the phone ID. It's like the call ID, and what you can do with this later on is to grab the cost of this as well. So you can have like a tracking thing as well for that. The ended reason you do want this set up in here. Sometimes the calls have different types of reasons why it would end. Recording URL if anyone else wants to listen to it later on. And you can get that from right here, timestamp. And let's grab this, the summary, click on that, and the transcript is the thing that we want. Cool, perfect. And that's all done. And I'll show you the trick that I use. So what I'll do is I'll click on that, download output bundles, Control A, Control C, close this, and what we'll do is we'll jump into, and we'll send this over to the same URL that we had. So let's go back into makeup.com. Copy this URL, set one, run anyway, send, and then and that means we'll get our end of call report into our thing pop up here. So this is actually all the transcripts for all the 3 assistants, so it's pretty cool. So that's pretty much the gist of what's going to happen here. And then if you have a function call when he wants to book, it will then come through here. So let's do a test run just so you guys see how that's going to look like. And we'll just do it in English. So let's run that. Hey, Ellen, I want to book an appointment for tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Sure, I can help with that. May I have your name, please?
Yeah, my name's Bob.
Just a sec. Great.
And yeah, so what we did is we got the chosen time, which is 2 p.m. tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 17th, and then let's go JSON, pass JSON string. I just realized I made a pretty silly thing at the start of the video. I for some reason went with email, so let's change that and call this one of the caller, and then we just need to publish that in all our 3 functions. I'm just going to go with the small n. Go caller, publish. Same thing in here. I was wondering why the name wasn't coming through in my function. But this is what happens when you guys do we do development. So we do a lot of things, and I just have to go back and forth quite a lot. Especially if this is something completely new and there's no other videos about it. So notice here I put a capital N. So I'm just going to go through and just double check everything is with a capital N. hopefully that it's a good habit to get into. Make sure your variables are written exactly the same for every single instance. Okay. So what I might do is actually just give another call.
Hello, I'm Bellen, an AI receptionist.
Hey, my name's Bob and I want to book tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Just a sec. All right, Bob. Let me check that for you. All right, Bob. Your appointment is booked for tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Can you try again? Can you try again, please?
Sure thing, Bob.
Thank you.
Let me try again for you.
Nice. So now we should have the my name and then the time that it came through to that. So let's jump into here. Let's make sure this is all good. So function call and chosen time, perfect. That is fine. And that's already worked for us. Amazing. Then yeah, you guys then build it out from here, exactly how it is. What I might do is I might actually just go through the setup I have in make.com instead of building it out. This video is already quite long. If you guys are wondering if I'll be giving this to you, I will give you this front setup, but the rest of it, I'm not sure if I'm willing to part with it unless you spent some considerable amount of time, some effort building it, and if you have any troubles, then book a call with me and I can help you with it. I do really like when people do try to build these things themselves. I was a teacher for a really long time, and I think the best way to do it is to try yourself first, fail a few times, then ask for help, or maybe help. Maybe we get everything working right off the bat, who knows? Just give it a crack. I'll show you the finalized make.com setup. So an extra thing that I changed that's looking different here is in the assistant. So there's nothing different in this one. So that's already done. In the assistant, what I did is I use my Vapi, I use a make API key auth request. And how that looks like is like this. It's this one here. And what you can do is you can add in your credentials. So what you'll do is you'll put in your key here. So it'll be bearer followed by your API key from Vapi. This is what you'll call this is what the name of it will be. And you'll here have authorization. So let's say Vapi API key. And then you paste your Vapi API key in here and then go create. And nothing else you have to do. So that's the setup for that. In here, I've got so the reason why we do the get assistant is because what I want to do is I want to grab the, so I want to grab my prompt. So in case I change my prompt at some point, I want to be able to grab it without having to redo my whole JSON structure, which I'll show you how it looks in a sec. And this is the setup that I had. So what we do is we map so basically what I'm doing is I'm mapping this whole setup. So the messages, and if the role is equal to system, then grab the content from the messages. So that's what that means. And you grab the first one there. That's what the one's there for. And then what I did is I put it into my prompt here. This looks a little bit different to you guys. So you can keep, essentially you don't really need this because our setup works the same, but I do like having a bit of nuances using this part because I'll show you, for example, for the knowledge base, I can set up my top K of 1 manually. And what that means is when I have a bigger knowledge base, it doesn't retrieve 2, it just grabs 1. So then it doesn't flood my context window each time. This probably changes my prompt efficiency from like 12k a run to probably maybe like 6. So yeah, that's been really helpful using that setup here. And all you would do then is you put your thing, your knowledge base, your ID in here. At the moment it's just null. So this is a bit of extra, so you guys don't need to do that. But so we got up to here in our setup, and then what I did is I put in my time zone, my variable. What you do is you change your email in here. I might actually put this node in for you guys. And then this is the exact same setup I had in my part 2 setup of my scenarios. What it does is it grabs the busy slots for that day. So let's go 23 plus 02. Yeah, so what this does is it grabs the any busy slots that I have. So in this particular case, I am busy from 7 a.m. to 1:15. Yeah, so the issue is with this setup is that there is, this sometimes grabs if you have a big event. So for example, if you book out an event from the morning till the evening, if it's like, say, more than 1 hour long, it doesn't spread it out into hourly or 30-minute intervals. It just grabs it from the start to the end, which then we run into a bit of issues towards the with our setup. The next what we need to do is to grab a router. What you'll do is you'll click on here, go calendars, click on busy, and then set the array operators equal to 0. And then you do the same thing, but on the second branch you say array length not equal to 0. Then what you do is you set up a Google Calendar event with the call with the name of the person, with the chosen time. The duration is set to 0 to an hour. There is no location, you can pretty much make that empty. And the main thing we want is to click on yes here to get the Google Calendar event. Because what we'll do then is we grab the Hangout link from this. We grab the Hangout link from this that we get, and we insert it into our SMS that the person will get. And into the 2, what you do is go phone number, oops, you go customer, and then click on number here, and the decided time. And then you just say your chosen time has been booked at whatever, and you'll receive an SMS. This would also work for WhatsApp, FYI. You could also set up a WhatsApp for the end of call report. So each time someone calls and whatever info you want to get from that also gets sent there. And what happens is basically if the array are not equal to 0, that means there is some busy slot during the day. So what that means is we need to transform all the JSON from, sorry, we need to transform all this this array into a JSON, and then we chuck that into this prompt here. So I've used 3.516k, the busy slots, which is this JSON. The chosen time I grabbed from the change this node, and that's the prompt for that. Next token is 256, temperature of 0, and just press OK. And essentially what this node does is decide if the wish slot is within the busy slots. So whatever they want to book the time in, if it is contained between, say, so if the time they wanted to book in was say 10 a.m. and I am busy from 7 to 1, that means this is I am busy, so it's true. It will then go through this top part, and what we then do is we click on map, we grab the busy slots, and what it will do is it will iterate. I'll go through every single bundle, so it'll go through the start and end points. In the text aggregator, you select your iterator module, click on new row, and you copy over basically what I have here, and how that would look like. See if I can actually run it for you guys to show you. Say I am then busy at, what was it? Say 11 p.m. tomorrow. I should be busy. Cool. So it's decided that between that, as I am busy tomorrow, say from 7 a.m. to 1:15, I'm busy then. So then it's giving me that I am actually busy at that time. So I said true. It will then grab the busy slot. It will then grab the basically convert it to, so that's from 7 a.m. to 1:15. And the reason why I'm doing this is so that it doesn't have to go through the whole JSON structure. So otherwise you'd have to send through like this really big long thing. If you have lots of appointments booked for this day, this JSON becomes really long. And then this node here takes a while to load, especially with 3.5, and we want to keep the cost down. So then you just grab the busy slots from that. So you'll get the, from the first one is the from 07 to 1 o'clock, and each busy slot begins on a new numbered line. Each day is between 8 a.m. and 11 p.m. So you guys have to change that. The instructions, you're an expert at extracting the available slots from Henrik's calendar. Output at most 3 available slots. So then it should have then said, I am not free in the morning. Damn it. It works like 90% of the time. So it did pick up, I am available at 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. though. So hopefully the person doesn't pick 8 a.m. That means it will just go through again and realize it wasn't available. So that would be fine still though. I'm just giving it extra some feedback to our LLM. So in this node here, if we're not busy, it'll just book it straight in. It's the exact same node we had up here, same message we had up here, and you've just been booked. So I'll give you guys the full prompts I had set up for Karolina, Piotrek, and Belen if you just want to literally copy exactly what I did. So I'll leave them all in the document with all the prompts. I'll give you the initial make.com setup. If you guys do, I would recommend try learning the rest of the setup yourself. Let's see if you can get there. It is a good learning experience, especially if you want to be a developer. If you are a business owner though, you're probably just watching this video to see what's possible. You are welcome to book a call with me and we can see if we are fit for whatever your vision is. So I know I said I was taking on students for low-code stuff. I am teaching students mainly in VoiceFlow. If you do want to learn, I'm teaching basically agency owners or anyone else who's interested in make.com, prompting, how LLMs work. Say your business wants someone to come in and talk about AI. I'm very happy to come in as well and do that for you. So anyway, signing out. Peace.